Back to your host, John Eaton, and chat with the experts on 95.1 The Peak FM.
We say good morning to Jerry King and Victoria Nolan. Welcome very much to Chat with the Experts.
Thanks very much, John.
Thanks for having us.
And Jerry, Victoria, you've each brought special guests with you.
We do. We have two guide dogs. We have Conrad, who's now speaking with Alan, who is under the counter somewhere.
And the guide dogs, of course, I can't pat them because they're working.
They are.
I've learned my lesson. Great to have you guys in. You're both here because you're involved in a very special event called Cycle for Sight. You were in last year. Can you just remind people what this event's all about?
Okay, John, this is a ride that raises money for the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Excuse me. Foundation Fighting Blindness really provides a great deal of funding for research into all sorts of eye diseases.
I'm always inspired by how much people who aren't sighted can do and how they can get around the limitation. But to me, it seems ludicrous to put unsighted people on cycles and have them ride from Toronto to the Blue Mountains. Whose idea was this?
This, I think, came together about 6 years ago, Victoria. Mm-hmm. And some people said, okay, there's guys doing motorcycle rides to raise money. We can do this on bikes. So a group got together and said, okay, let's do it. And that was the beginnings of Cycle for Sight. They decided the Blue Mountain, Collingwood was a good target. I think the first ride started at Queen's Park, and they rode in horrible conditions through the rain. And there was some errors perhaps in what roads were chosen. Sure. Apparently there was a bit of gravel road and so on. And, we're sitting on the back. So we just kind of keep on pedaling. But the poor people on the front, the pilots, they have to figure out where to go and how to manage the whole thing. So the first ride was successful. Everybody made it. Everybody had a pretty good time. And it's gotten bigger and better every year since then. So now we're in, year 6? And, it's up to well over 200 participants, which is great. And we can always use more. Sure. My understanding is that there's a group from the Craigleith Ski Club this year. They're called the Craigleith Visionaries, and there's 23 of them riding. And I think so far they've made, they have people who have sponsored them up to, I think it's a little more than $6,000 at this point.
Wow,
so,
already.
So, and we still got a ways to go because we don't go until June the 21st. So we have a little bit of time before we get on the bike and
It's amazing to see how it's grown because I was there for the first ride and we had a little over 60 participants, and now I think we're up over 300 and we're hoping to get 370 by June 21st.
Victoria, how did you get involved with Cycle for Sight?
I was actually I was friends with the organizers, and they asked me to be a participant because I was a Paralympian. So I think they thought it would be sort of a good promotion for the event. And so I joined because I thought I was doing them a favor, and it turns out it was so meaningful for me. I was surprised how much it did for me, and so I've been participating every year since. I never thought I would ride a bike again and didn't think it was something that I particularly cared about, but it's been a thrilling experience. And to have all those people around you supporting you in the same thing that you're passionate about, people who are, whether they're family members of people who are affected or researchers, or opticians, people in the eye care field, it's amazing for everyone to be rallied together around this cause. As
a Paralympian, did you find this like any other athletic challenge? Did you have to train for it, get ready for it?
Yes and no. I mean, I encourage people, if you're kind of thinking about joining it, the first year that I did it, I really didn't prepare as much. Honestly, it's doable without really fully training for it. The excitement, the community feeling. At the same time, of course, you do want to be prepared to prevent injury and that sort of thing. And now that I've been doing it for years, I'm getting pretty competitive about it. So if you are an athlete, you can set goals for yourself and improve your time. And so there are choices in the distance that you participate in as well. So if you want to ride from Alliston to Collingwood, that's the shortest distance, or if you want to do the full ride from Toronto to Collingwood, there's that option as well.
Now, of course, you're inviting everyone to ride, sighted and unsighted people.
Absolutely.
How do the folks who aren't sighted, how do you participate, Jerry?
Well, the best way for us to participate is on a tandem bike.
Right.
There are one or two people who actually challenge it on individual bikes with a guide in front of them on another bike.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. Well, I didn't see that, so it doesn't bother me. I mean, if you get through, you get through. First year that I did it, we ran into some rain.
Wow.
And so I'm on the tandem bike. It's all good. We're coming into a big downhill. And Sydney, who was on the front, goes, "I can't see anything." I go, "Welcome to my world."
Give me the wheel.
Yeah. So, we held it together and had a great time.
I know my first time on a tandem bike, I was freaked out on the back just because I didn't have control. I can't imagine what that must have been your first time, Victoria, on a tandem bike without being able to see at all.
It wasn't a big challenge for me. I think, when you have vision loss, you end up relying on people a lot. And at times it's challenging, but I mean, that's the way that I could participate. That's what I needed to do in order. In one sense, it's making me feel more safe and more,
Because you're directly connected.
Yeah.
We're speaking with Victoria and Jerry. We've got more on Cycle for Sight when we return to chat with the experts.
Exploring more of what matters. It's Chat with the Experts with John Eaton on 95.1 The Peak FM. Exploring more of what matters. It's Chat with the Experts with John Eaton on 95.1 The Peak FM.
We continue our discussion with Jerry King and Victoria Nolan. They are participants in Cycle for Sight. It is a fundraiser for the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Can you tell us a little bit about who these folks are, Jerry?
Who these folks are? The other people that are hanging around in the room.
I meant who Foundation for Fighting Blindness is.
Who Foundation for Fighting Blindness is. Okay, it's a group of people based in Toronto,
right,
who have contacts with, they're actually financing vision research. There's projects going on with the Hospital for Sick Kids, and there's really vision research going on everywhere, and it needs funding to move forward. Did you want to add anything, Victoria?
Just trying to remember the numbers. I think they funded like 202 research projects.
Wow.
Since they've begun, yeah. And Cycle for Sight last year in total has raised over $1 million for sight-saving research. So
there's a number of medical reasons for visual impairment.
Sure.
Do they center on any in particular?
I don't think there's any particular focus, John, although I have retinitis pigmentosa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what...
Same, yeah.
Victoria has the same thing. So we're losing our sight, or have lost our sight slowly, usually starting from the outside to the inside. And then there's macular degeneration, which I kind of describe this like Tim Hortons, right? Victoria and I see the Timbits. The other people see the donuts.
Okay.
So they've lost their vision in the center.
Oh, okay.
And this is becoming more and more common as the population ages. So research into how to address or even just live with these visual impairments is really a great way to help us enjoy our lives. Because you have that day where you're told you're going blind. Not fun.
Yeah.
So you go from there. I'm going to swing it over to Victoria.
Yeah, something that they do that I found really helpful, the Foundation Fighting Blindness does fund Vision Quest conferences.
Okay.
And so the first time that I met other people who have, vision loss or the same eye disease as me, to be able to share stories and realize that you're not alone. And they've just started doing this for youth, which is huge, like for kids and teens to be able to share their experiences. So that's a huge part of what they do as well.
And I would think Cycle for Sight, not only the outcome of raising as much funds as you can for research, is there an empowerment in just having everyone together for this cause?
For me, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an electric feeling on the day. You just like at the start of any event, but this one especially, you've got a group of people all focused on one thing, and they're there, and there's such a positive feeling in the air. And you'll get Victoria up on the platform telling us to go, go, go. She'll talk about her Paralympic experiences and how when you feel you have nothing left, you can dig deeper and there's still lots more and it'll get you through.
It starts June 21st. You actually start in Toronto, so folks from our community will head down to Toronto to start the ride. But there's a lot of Torontonians and people from the GTA that will be starting there coming up here to stay.
That's true. So it starts at Black Creek Pioneer Village, and they'll work their way up here. And then the second starting point is the Alliston starting point, which is for the shorter rides.
So if you don't feel fit enough, if you're not a former Paralympian, and you want to give it a little easier go, you can start in Alliston.
You can start in Alliston, and then partway through, I guess at the second rest stop after Alliston, you have the choice that if you feel like challenging yourself a little bit more, you can add more onto the ride. So that's where you can change it from a 75K ride to a 95K ride, or 145 up to 160.
Wow.
So if you want to do, the old century ride of 100 miles,
there you
the
go.
opportunity is there.
So you can customize it however you want if you want to be a participant in it and raise some funds. You're also looking at, if you don't ride particularly but you want to support the event, you're looking for volunteers.
Absolutely. And you can go to the Cycle for Sight website, cycleforsight.ca, and sign up to volunteer. I believe that we can use volunteers, especially at the start line, I'm told.
Okay.
We need a few people for there.
So if you can make it down to Toronto for the start line, that'd be great. But you could probably use people in Alliston and right up into here.
Absolutely. Wherever people would like to help, we need them. And I think we need to mention the Lions Club. They are actually supporting us at every one of our rest stops, and there's 5 rest stops along the way. They introduced me to something really cool last year. It's peanut butter and banana wrap. And that is just a great food, and it's great for cycling.
It's the food of Paralympians, isn't that right, Victoria?
That's right.
Victoria, when you start off, what's the thing that you're thinking of most when you start the ride on the 21st?
There's a goal for me, and people who've done the ride before always laugh when I say this, but there's a hill, I think it's in Stainer. Okay. And it's a crazy hill. And I always say it's like vertical, it's like 90 degrees. But I've made that my mission. That's like, to me, that's my blindness. That's what I have to conquer. And it happens to be towards the end of the ride too, so it's a good goal to have to get there, and I'm going to conquer that hill. And so for me, it's almost a direct battle against my vision loss.
Wow.
So that's what gets me going.
That's powerful. Along with the athletic goal, do we have a financial goal for this event?
We do. We ask everyone to raise at least $600 per person.
To participate?
But the sky's the limit.
Right.
Just obviously the more money we have, the more research we can do. The more research we can do, the sooner we have ways of addressing visual impairment.
Jerry, your website you mentioned is cycleforsight.ca. Folks can go on there to find out how to enter, how to just support you. And even if you can't make the event as a volunteer or make the event as a participant, you're happy if they send some money your way, right?
Absolutely. And you can go there, you can click on donate, you can randomly pick someone to sponsor, or you can sponsor Victoria or myself, and that money will go through. And there will be tax receipts, obviously, for everyone.
Victoria Nolan, thank you so much for joining us and Chat with the Experts.
Thank you.
Jerry King, always a pleasure to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Chat with the Experts with John Eaton on 95.1 The Peak FM. Get in the conversation. Do you have a topic or guest idea? Visit thepeakfm.com. Chat with the Experts with John Eaton on 95.1 The Peak FM.